Hello all, I am Sumant Palepu, CMO of Conira Online. As a part of my job, I keep traveling to a lot of colleges, taking sessions and seminars on personal interviews, campus recruitment training, and body language. As a part of many of these seminars, students keep asking me a lot of questions, sharing a lot of their concerns about what is the right question, what is the right answer, how should I build my resume, what all elements should I put in my resume, and so on and so forth. Now what I am doing today is I have consolidated all these questions and I am going to verbalize them and share them with our personal development expert, Mr. Muhammad Abdullah, CEO of Conira Online, whose personality development session videos you would have watched earlier on our Conira Online environment. Just not the questions asked in our college, I am also going to bring forth the questions shared on our doubt clarification mechanism on Conira Online. And my job is to answer your questions through the words of Mr. Abdullah. So why late, let's get started. The first video is on resume design and resume questions and the relevant concerns and questions moving around this area. So let me ask the first question. Mr. Abdullah, one of the questions students keep asking me is, how long should my resume be? Should it be 2 pages, 1 page? What is the right length of my resume? How are you going to answer this question?
Alright, it's like a novel. An interesting novel, even if it is thick, it's okay. A boring novel, even if it is thin, it's not okay. So as long as the resume is something interesting for the person who is taking the interview, even if the length is too much, it's never a problem. But if you were to look at a fresher basically is a person who has no work experience. So whatever he has done, he probably would have done it in the school or he would have done it in the college, nothing beyond that. And even if a company is coming to the campus, the company is coming there to interview quite a few students, which means they could probably numbering about 100 or 200 or even 500. Therefore, from the company's perspective, if you really understand, they really do not have too much time to look at a big bunch of papers submitted by each of the students. So from our perspective, what we recommend therefore is that resume should not be too long. And considering the limited exposure these students have, probably a 1.5 pager or 2 pager is the maximum one should go for. The greatest challenge that a student has is that in that 1.5 page and 2 page, he should be able to show the various dimensions of himself or herself.
In fact, I have my next question there. A very recent article I read that the max amount of time when a HR generally spends on a resume is not more than 2 to 3 minutes. Now, if I am a student, have so many points, how do I consolidate those many points into 2 pages and ensure that the interviewer reads all those points? Any suggestion on that regards?
You're right. The fact of the matter is, if I am the interviewer and I take the resume, I would not in a stretch probably spend more than 2 minutes. So that is not to say that I'm only going to spend 2 minutes. Your responsibility as a person who is giving the interview is to see to it that during that duration which I am spending, you are able to take my attention towards that area which enthuses you. For example, your profile is going to be obviously different from someone else. If you are a person who has done good amount of research, for example, and you want the questions to be asked in that, it's your responsibility to see to it that the resume is able to highlight those questions. So when I do look at the resume, my focus should go there and I should be tempted enough to ask those questions. So in effect, each individual, when he comes to the interview room, he or she brings in a lot of strengths. And resume, the way you package that in the resume, will probably govern the direction in which the interview will go.
In fact, my next question is that, how do I prioritize my points? How do I get to know as a student, this is a point I need to mention as the first point, this is a point I need to mention as second point? Any thumb rules you would like to suggest to students?
Resume is an advertisement, something which I keep telling my students as well. So one of the most important thing is to understand what does the company want. For example, you probably are a mechanical engineer. When you are coming to an IT company, your resume should be IT focused. While when you are going to a mechanical engineering company, then IT focus has to be less and mechanical engineering focus has to be more. So what should be emphasized depends on whom you are speaking to. That's point number 1. Point number 2, one of the greatest challenges I find in the students is that we can compartmentalize them in 2 areas. One, people who have done many things. So what they do is, in their enthusiasm to showcase everything, they end up addressing everything. It becomes like a forest. So if I am a HR professional, I go through it, I see forest and I don't see a consistency. So I'm a little confused as to, did this student who has done many things, did he ever have any focus in life or not? The other set of people whom we find, we compartmentalize as guys who probably have done something, but they believe they have done nothing. So in the resume is vacant.
Now, say for example, in under extracurricular activities, I am a student who has participated in multiple games. I possibly have a dumb charades participation. I have a singing participation, etc., and many other participation. So, do you advise me to write down all the participation certificates or mention whatever I have on the resume?